let's get into some leaks around here. Potential
Quote.
Marvel 4 phase leaks due to some, well, let's just call it internet detective work. So, Mitch, what has potentially leaked out there
Right.
recently?
Well, for those that don't know, just to explain what's actually happened, people found inactive Facebook pages, which it's kind of a 50-50 thing. Like, yes, they do this, but it's not necessarily 100% confirmed. But the ones people have found, well, the three that I definitely know of, were Dark Avengers, Young Avengers, and Ironheart.
Yeah.
Now,
My
the
hype
problem
and
with all this
goosebumps.
is it wasn't said what it was before, like a couple of hours after people were like, oh, there's inactive Facebook pages. So maybe people could just make these and then make them inactive. I don't
Right.
know, but
Um,
like these
so,
things exist. Like if it was going to be some random person, it probably wouldn't be inactive because they wouldn't be hiding anything.
so here's
No.
how this works, and I'm going to go in the Wayback Machine. To some of you kids aren't even going to know what the hell I'm talking about right now.
Get
So,
around the campfire, kids.
Grandpa Armin's telling you the story of the internet and the dot-com boom.
Oh,
So,
back away in '99.
so literally, back in like 1999 and all those early days, websites would get bought up all the time. And before the social media boom and all that, if you went to like warnerbrothers.com slash like Batman and Superman, you would go to their old cartoon page for the animated series and like the shared universe for the cartoons, right? So people started doing that in masses, and I used to be back on those forums, like many people were, and people ended up uncovering Batman versus Superman, and it was a placeholder. So Batman vs Superman was inevitably announced, and then it never happened. But the logos were out there and all that, so we knew it was happening. A lot of Facebook pages today generate the same way, and studios will pay Facebook to hold it in anticipation for something. Now, sometimes this could
Yeah.
become nothing. They just don't want somebody else stealing it, and we've seen this with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because before it was ever called that by Disney or at Marvel Studios, fans took that page. And there was
Yeah,
kind
and
of,
that was huge.
and it was huge, and people thought it was the real page, and
Yeah.
they were no wiser to it that there was a bunch of people misleading people. So now they're kind of building contingency plans for this. It doesn't guarantee everything is real, but the fact you can find these, but then if you type in like slash Marvel's Moon Knight or something, there's nothing there. It's a little bit more telling that some of these could be real. Like that's what I'm trying to tell people here. So it goes all the way back.
If you search it on desktop, you can tell there's a clear difference between it doesn't exist and like isn't inactive. Like if it doesn't
Yep.
exist, you'll get like a thumbs up. You get the thumbs up on mobile for anything, so don't worry about that. But like if desktop, it will say like page is inactive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very clear difference between telling what it is. But
Right.
it's just interesting that it's Dark Avengers and Young Avengers.
Especially, those are things that we sat there and we've been talking about, being like, hey, what do you think the new phases are going to be? Well, this is what they're basically already showing and telling us. And the end of Spider-Man, he's saying we need a new Iron Man. He knows he's not going to be a new Iron Man,
Right.
but we need something
I mean,
like that.
it kind of like, to me, it's like, oh wait, now that his identity's out there, all this stuff that's happening, it's like now did the Dark Avengers go, see, there was bad stuff happening there. And to me, when I saw the Dark Avengers, the first thing that popped in my mind was doing the Circle New York shot, but with all the villains.
Yeah,
Like I got chills.
yeah,
I was like,
that'd
could
be
you
cool.
imagine like Osborn in the Patriot suit and Red Hulk and I can't do it. Justin Hammer doing his little dance. I need that to happen right in the middle of New York.
Is he gonna floss or something? Just because.
Yes, he's hip with the kids now. He's been watching Twitch from jail. Of course, of course.
What really got me is honestly Ironheart. Like, I'm so excited. We were sitting there like just predicting how could they do it, because if she's older, then you can sit there and have her be Captain Marvel's Morgan's daughter.
So okay, let's talk about this one, Mitch. You might know the ages. How old was that little girl in Captain Marvel? Like, if they aged her up, would that age fit if
What,
she was
Monica?
snapped? Yeah, yeah.
Monica would be around the 30s.
Okay,
late
that's
20s.
that's what we figured out as well.
Yeah.
We're probably 30, somewhere around there. So is that a little too old for Ironheart? Like, if they were to make her, do they just introduce Riri?
There's no way they're gonna make her Ironheart. There's no way.
That's what I was so landing towards. I'm like, I don't know, but if they did, I think Ironheart's got to be like, it's got to be Riri, but I don't know how you go about introducing
I think in
her.
the direction that they're going, I don't think they'd ever, merge two like people of color characters together.
Yeah, that is true.
I think that's kind of like, people being like, oh, make Morgan Ironheart. Like, no. That's definitely not going to happen. I'd love Morgan to take up the mantle, but she's not going to happen. No, I don't think you're going to get Monica as Ironheart. I mean, to be fair, you could.
You could, but you don't want them.
But it's like, but then it's like, it's an interesting question because how can they do Ironheart? People are like, there's no established connection. Well, there wasn't in the comics anyway. No.
Like, are they gonna like give us some like flashbacks? And it's like, oh, she worked at Avengers Tower for a while, and she ended up making her own suit, and she was very smart, so he left her behind like a version of Edith for her as well. But just
but then you kind of retreading Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah. Because
I suppose you could literally just do Riri and like just take out the whole Tony Stark AI bit and kind of make her a Miss Marvel copy. So, I was just a fan of Tony Stark, like everyone else on the damn planet.
Yep.
But she could also be the one who had that next step. Like, you never know. Like, how many times have pieces of Iron Man's armor just been broken off and somewhere she could have sat there and done a Vulture? Like, she created it, and instead of doing evil with it, she created a suit. And only now that Tony's gone, she's able to sit there and be like, I need to do this.
She finds one of his helmets and retrofits it to her own armor. There we go. I'll take it.
All she's really got to do is she's got to somehow get the blueprints. That was a main part of telling you how she's smart.
Yep.
Maybe, you could replace Tony with Pepper. And she shows up in the, not Ironheart, the rescue armor.
Yep.
And that's how you get that connection in then. Like, here's Friday, that was his AI. Or something like that, and just do it that way. But Ironheart's the one on the list that came out that I was like, no. I know there's a script floating around, but that wasn't exactly Marvel asking for a script. It was like someone just wrote a script.
Right,
So
and
it also came out hours after Dark Avengers, Young Avengers. So it's like, is that just someone making it up? Like,
I think this one, because even Kevin Feige's openly talked about it in interviews now. Like he's when her name is brought up, he talks about it. He doesn't dismiss it. He doesn't do his like passive lying, which is telling the truth. He openly talks about that character. I'm just like, so there's clearly motive. Like, there's a difference when he says, oh, what about Moon Knight? He's like, well, we look at all 1,800 characters that Marvel has in a rich history, because he always says that. Or when somebody says, hey, what about Ironheart? He's like, oh, we love Ironheart. We can't wait to do something with that character. It's like, there's a difference there.
There's a difference, but I don't know. It's like, is it too soon?
Maybe that's
like.
Well, think about it this way: how soon are we going to actually get that movie?
What, a Champions or a Young Avengers movie or an Ironheart one?
Any of them. Like, these are movies that we already have a pretty full potential slate that's going to be announced. So that sounds more like a Phase 5. So that's probably another couple of years in their future.
I wouldn't be opposed to introduce Riri in one of the other side films, like they did Spider-Man and Black Panther, and then have her take on her own film once the audience responds that they want it, which they will. It's Marvel Studio, so
we've even talked about maybe she's a part of the Wakanda outreach.
Yeah, like Shuri.
Possibly, that's one way of doing it.
And especially if you sat there and how Pepper is just giving money out because she wants to make sure that Tony's name and legacy and his company are still in good standings with the people. She could have gone in one day in maybe her rescue armor and been like, hey, look at this. Like, this is what you guys could potentially do, and be one with the Wakanda outreach doing this. And there she is, like, sparks all of her interests. And it's like, oh my God. And then she just builds her own. Not in a cave, but in her classroom or something. And just
she does build it in her dorm.
Yeah.
So
yes.
That's one way of doing it.
So there's a lot that they could potentially do with it and be able to easily tie her in. And they're going to do just like Marvel does. Have to retell the story in a way that it's going to fit this cinematic universe. Because it's not... They stay true as much as they can to the comics, but it is more a retelling in our cinematic universe instead. So
Yeah.
there's a lot they're going to be able to do with this, and it's just going to be a good and bad uproar at the same time, where the good is going to surpass all of the negative outroar. But I'm excited. That is the one I'm more excited for. Young Avengers is, I already talked about before in a previous podcast how I'm excited for that. This one I'm even more excited for.
Yeah, I can't wait. I want to see what they have to offer. So, some potential leaks out there. Obviously, we'll find out this weekend what was
we'll
true
find
and what
out
wasn't.
Saturday.
So, stay tuned.